They carry posters, chant slogans, and flood the internet with messages of defiance. But for Nepal's Generation Z, teenagers and young adults born roughly between the late 1990s and early 2000s, this moment is more than a protest. It's a reckoning. More than just anger at a social media ban, their demands reflect deep frustration with years of unkept promises, corruption, and a political system that seems built to fail them. The immediate flashpoint was the government's order to block 26 popular social media platforms, citing regulatory non-compliance. But many young people saw this not just as regulation but as censorship. What was supposed to be a legal or technical demand became proof of a wider pattern, a government that acts swiftly to control speech but slowly or never to respond to corruption, unemployment, or crumbling public services. For Gen Z, social media is not just entertainment. It's how they learn, connect, organize, and complain. Banning it felt like silencing them. When the government attempted to enforce platform registration guidelines, many online platforms were slow to comply or claimed ambiguous rules, and the state responded by shutting them down. The youth interpreted this as overreach and symbolic of how officials dodge accountability. Although the social media ban was a trigger, protesters say that grievances go much deeper. Here's what the Gen Z is pushing for: resignation of current leaders, especially Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli and others seen as symbol of corruption or inertia. The youth want clean leadership, fair, transparent elections, and interim government. They demand an interim, non-partisan, or at least reform-minded government that isn't beholden to the usual political family networks. Youth want leaders who are not part of the old guard. Names like Sushila Karki have emerged in their meetings as a possible neutral figure. Overhaul of core institutions: education, justice, health, security. Gen Z wants structural reform. It's not enough to remove one bad leader. The system itself must change. Accountability and justice for the violence. They want investigations into the shootings, deaths, and injuries, and punishment for officials who ordered force or acted with impunity. Freedom of expression, including digital freedoms. They want social media free from arbitrary bans, regulation that doesn't mean suppression, and access to information. Economic opportunity, jobs, decent wages, end to the brain drain where educated young people feel they must emigrate to survive. Many young protesters argue that corruption and nepotism have stolen opportunities from them. Gen Z protesters do not just write demands, they are acting on them. In cities like Kathmandu, Pokhara, Butwal, Birganj, young people, students, tech workers, freelancers have joined protests in droves. Some protest in school uniforms, others in casual clothes or techie hoodies. They chant slogans like "shut down corruption, not social media," or "KP Oli resign," or "we deserve better." There's pain too. The death toll has risen, dozens killed, many injured. Those who join protests speak of fear, especially when police use force. But there's bitterness too. Young people who say they lost faith in institutions long ago, whose trust eroded by decades of broken promises, slow infrastructure, inflation, and unemployment. For many, this feels like the first time in years that their voices are being heard, but only because they had no choice but to shout. Empathy and grief are widespread. People feel pain for the fallen, but anger simmers. Why did it take so much violence for the government to reverse course on something like a ban? Why are so many institutions still unresponsive? For many, the question is less about single demands and more about establishing a new norm: that leaders can be changed, held accountable, and institutions serve people, not families or elites. What do they fear? Co-opted leadership. Gen Z worry that political parties will try to absorb their movement, inserting party loyalists and diluting demands. Empty promises. There is unskepticism that resignations or bans being lifted will mean real change. Without institution building, new leaders could be as compromised as the old. As curfews, army deployment, and security crackdowns increase, there is fear that more lives will be lost unless things de-escalate and dialogue begins soon. Fractured movement. Not all youth groups agree on every demand or leader. Some factions push for Sushila Karki, others want someone else. Disunity could weaken negotiation power. For Gen Z, peace is more than absence of violence. It's a government that is transparent, accountable, and responsive. Elections where everyone, young and old, have faith that votes matter. Institutions that are fairly run, free from corruption, nepotism, and inefficiency. Freedom to express themselves online and offline without fear of censorship or repression. A future where their education, skills, and effort are recognized with opportunity, not forced emigration. This moment feels different in Nepal because many believe Gen Z is no longer willing to play by the old political rules. They have tools, social media, mobile connectivity, stronger awareness of global norms, and they are using them. Their participation isn't just symbolic, it's reshaping the conversation in parliament, sparking resignations, and forcing the state to take notice. Analysts believe this generation could mark a political turning point for Nepal. If their demands are addressed meaningfully, it could reset how power works in the country. If not, if repression continues or promises are never kept, the frustration may lead to more unrest. Nepal's Gen Z is not protesting to return to what was, they are pushing for what should be. Their grievances may have been sparked by one particular policy, but their demands reach into the foundations of governance, justice, and opportunity. The question now is whether the state, political parties, leaders, security forces can respond in ways that match the intensity and seriousness of these demands. If they can, there is hope that peace, stability, and renewal are still possible. If they don't, this may just be the beginning of a long struggle for generational change. For more updates, keep watching the News Point.